Hello everyone, welcome to the Lightbringers podcast, where we're going to be talking about the podcast and also Guild Wars 2 and potentially Janthir Wilds and potentially things. Hopefully, it depends. The thing is we've actually been talking for a good while. We're like, yeah, we'll probably do the podcast right now. And some people caught a bit of our conversation earlier because I forgot to mute it. But that was fun. And
thanks for telling us, fam. Appreciate you. Thank you. We do appreciate it. No joke. That's not sarcasm.
I checked my DMs as well. We got people telling me in my DMs are like, whoa, is it that bad? Just in case you're talking about NDA stuff. We weren't. We never do that. Okay. Yeah. Welcome to the Lightbringers podcast. This is episode 2 of season 4. We have 4 seasons. No, we've had 3 seasons. This is the 4th season. And we're on Janthir Wilds, the expansion for Guild Wars 2, which just came out. Well, not just came out. It was like 3 weeks ago.
Like a month.
That's true. That is actually true. So, how has it been almost a month? What?
I truly don't know. I was thinking about this too. I was still playing through, we're working on stuff, and I'm on stream, and I was just like, yeah, Janthir Wilds came out. When did it come out?
Yeah.
It's been a blur.
What is happening? It was literally, oh my god, 1, 2, 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks and the days that weren't Tuesday.
It has blown by. We've had so much stuff releasing in games. It has just been, I don't even know what time anything. I'm like, I don't know when that came out. It's the same time window as everything else that came out. Yeah. One came out first, then the next one, then the one after. And now I'm just holding on to the seat of my pants as we just go flying through this expansion whirlwind in all the games currently.
Wow, now we all know that Rook wears pants when streaming. That is cheating. Definitely. That is not how we do it. It's got to be no pants or shorts. You got to show your knees.
Knickerbocker glory, that's what it is.
My knees is going wild right now. Look at that knee. Come on.
Do leggings count as pants? Because today I'm technically wearing leggings. So.
Are they longer shorts? That is real.
Tights and a codpiece. That is the absolute necessity for this podcast. Yes.
Man, I wish we all did this podcast in tights and a cod piece. Are you kidding me? We need to have a Fancy Lad episode where we all somehow get to...
I mean, I'd do it for a laugh.
Dress up. Yeah, definitely dress up episode. Yeah.
I do have a top hat with some goggles.
Like a Council of Lord Farron kind of episode or something. I think that'd be good.
I think that's probably what we'll do one day because we're going to need some ideas. So we have Rook came back today and it was like, oh, what are we doing, Jebro? What are we talking about? And I'm like, Guild Wars 2 probably, maybe. I mean, it's at least half the show. We'll probably talk about some stuff with the expansion. And then Rick was like, what about if we ramble about, Ramblecast? We just talk about things, we think about a subject, and we talk about it from the expansion. It's just like, yes, that's definitely more of a plan than I have right now. So let's do that.
And controversial views about the housing system. Yeah,
there you
go.
So we will do some more focus-specific stuff as things get a little bit fleshed out, I think, in the future. So I want to do a proper housing thing once we've had some time to flesh that out, proper raiding thing. We'll have a proper story cast in 2 weeks, which is the plan. And then we're probably going to start talking about things like, the updates as they come out, because we're going to have one in 2 and a bit months because it's already September. So there is that, everyone.
Damn. Oh my god.
I know, right? Well, we can't go back to that conversation. We just had that conversation, Phoenix. We just talked about that.
Sorry.
It's been 3 weeks.
I'm on the moonshine, so you can't see this, but I have a large glass of cider in front of me, so this could get...
Wow, your words.
Darkbringers,
were a bit slurry. How many have you had? Quarter of a glass?
The last time I had a drink was about 2 years ago.
Oh, jeez.
Like, seriously. So, I don't drink, I'll have a glass of wine at Christmas maybe. So I could get like completely swallowed off this, so I'm gonna just put it to one side for a second.
Maybe we should have made this like the Brewers Club cast, where we all bring a different brew.
Man, I've just got Guinness.
Yeah.
It's like...
Is that what you're drinking in your coffee mug right now, Jebro?
it's just coffee, I'm sorry.
Pure Guinness?
I wish it was. I mean, it's almost the same color. I mean, you know.
That's true. It does. It could basically just be.
Good.
I just have water today. I should have brought something more fun, but I just have water for hydration purposes.
I have water, I have a coffee, and I also have this wonderful Coke Zero sugar with cherry. It's lovely.
And that's because Jebro, what you also have is ADHD.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I also have these snacks.
Oh my god.
These snacks here. I have my glasses cleaner. I do also have my meds, which I still haven't taken. Which is really good.
Let me be clear in that I say this because I do the same thing, and it wasn't until my therapist was like, "You probably have inattentive ADHD," that I was like thinking back on all of the little quirks of ADHD, and one of them was, "Do you have 5 different beverages? Because what if you want a cold one or a hot one or a fizzy one and I was like, oh my god, it's real."
Oh, yeah, so that's one thing.
One for taste.
Yeah, I had completely forgot that was a part of it, actually. I think I just you're just reminding me of I get reminded of all these quirks every single time a new client comes in and like, I've got ADHD and the things they do, and I'm like, oh my god, that's another one. Shit. Well, not shit.
Also,
like,
random
it's
things.
good.
Hi, Otter Scotch. Hi, Han. How you doing? Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Of course, every single time.
Yeah.
Just Fornax just waving to their mates whilst they're doing no live show. like presidential speech. Fornax is like having some emotional speech. Oh, Scotch, you right, mate?
All right, babe. Yeah, right.
All right, Fornax, tell us what you do, where you do it. We'll do an intro and then we'll actually talk about Guild Wars 2.
Oh shit. Okay, yeah. So, hey, I'm Fornax, the Crichton Herald. I do make content over on YouTube. I've made my review of Guild Wars 2, actually, Janthir Wilds over on there. Some people didn't agree with my thoughts, but it's fine. No, it was a fun video, and I really enjoyed making it. And I'm going to be making one. I'm working on a Warcraft review video, and I'm going to be talking about Homesteads as well. But I've had a rough week this week, so I have not done anything. So I've taken up drinking scotch. No, what is this? Mead, something.
Wow.
Anyway,
Cider? Oh no.
cider.
I don't know if you can handle this one glass of cider for.
Oh my god. The literal
Just
therapist, literally the therapist on the podcast. I've been coping with my thoughts and stuff. We are using alcohol this week. Okay, cool. For next,
Chemical kosh for the win.
we may have to have a chat about that later. Please don't do that.
I have been told that I'm a better healer when I'm drunk, because I did do a drunk stream once, and apparently I was pretty good because all the inhibitions went. So there you go. Drink wisely.
You mean
kids.
all of the anxiety went?
Possibly, yes.
That's what that's about.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I was just looking at just went over to your video. I was like, what's going on? Who's saying shit? Because if they are, I'm gonna have them right now. I'm gonna reply to every MFO. I missed the letter there.
Honestly, my comment section is just lovely. I don't get any weirdness at all.
I do.
They're all just really sweet.
Oh,
it's the bald head, babe. It gets them going.
Nice.
Is this you sassing, or is this for real? This is not you being sarcastic about your comment section?
No.
No, they're well written.
Lovely.
There's actual sentence structure here.
Well, then I'm conversations. Yeah.
There's no knuckles on the floor or anything. That's really good.
And occasionally someone will get a bit pocket miney about how my voice sounds, which is fine. As long as they keep it clean, I'm okay.
How your voice sounds. Oh, they like it.
Yeah.
They like it.
They do like it.
Oh, they like it. Okay.
A little bit too much.
Me moving my hands off the keyboard as I was typing
Calm
a
down.
really extensive description of all the things I love about Fornax's voice. I'll just delete it. Okay.
We do have all the hot voices on this podcast. It's very true.
But no, in the cesspool that can be comment section, my community is just absolutely lovely and really thoughtful. Especially I did one about 14. hundreds and hundreds of comments, loads of interesting conversations, loads of different points of view talking about like looking back at different like Final Fantasy iterations and what they brought in. It was super educational. I love my community. They're amazing.
That's the kind of people you foster. Good stuff. I just get assholes. No, I don't. Everyone who's sorry, the podcast goes on my channel. Everyone who who comments positively on the podcast, just alienate everyone in the community.
We can commiserate over chronic illness anytime, sweetie. Anytime.
I'm gonna quote a literally a recent comment from not only from real life, but from also the podcast itself, because we don't really talk about this much. Hey Jebro and the rest of the Lightbringers crew, thanks for making a podcast to keep me sane during a hectic work week. Keep doing what you're doing. See? Love it. That's the kind of thing, you see? Someone came up to me during the PAX party and said, Jebro, I really appreciate all the mental health stuff you all talk about, on the podcast. It really helps lift me up and makes me think that I have somewhere that I can go where I feel when I don't feel lonely, and I can have some good laughs as well. And I was like, yes, that is why
that's wonderful.
We do this, indeed, because we all are here for the same reason. I'm literally like today, I've had a week at work and I was prepared and ready to get ready for this week, and I just had a lot of like crisis situations with clients, and I was just like, you know what? I just need my friends. I need to hang out with my friends and talk about video games because it's flipping week, dude.
Honestly, some weeks just be like that, and I feel like this year, I mean, it's true for every year, but this year in particular, I feel like more than ever, just a lot of folks I know, or even on the podcast or anywhere, we've all talked about like basically like that, where it's just like, it's been a week, so like, honestly, I did one thing and I feel good about that, and the rest of the week I made it. I did it. I made it. I got from point A to point B. Like I adapted to what was happening, because we don't always know how things exactly are going to plan out or pan out. And sometimes like we might have the best intentions for something, but like life throws a huge curveball, or there's some other huge thing, and just trying to adapt to it and give ourselves grace and be like, okay, you know what? All right, I'm going to show myself some extra love this week, and I'm just going to do it. We're going to do a RAMBLECAST. We're going to do whatever. We're just going to make it work, and that's enough. And I don't have to be more than that.
No, that's
we're
right.
Doing it.
That's literally right. That is. Yeah, I like the RAMBLECAST, because I feel like rambling is definitely something I do a lot. But it's obviously makes sense and is very very useful for most people. Now, Rookery, as soon as you talked to just then, why don't you talk again and tell us what you do and where you do it, so people know. And I think we're working out that now this is more of a fact so that people understand whose voice is who, because they don't understand sometimes, apparently. Because I clearly sound like Fornax or Boots.
I sound just like Jebro, so
you do. There are times people have DM'd me to tell you to stop. And they've already got one of me. I don't need any more. They've had enough. Just like get rid of them.
Hi everybody. I'm Rook, or the artist formerly known as Jebro. I do content here on Twitch, over on my Twitch channel at Rookery. That's ROOKURI. You can also find me on YouTube at the same. You can find me on Twitter at Rookery_, and you can find me on this podcast as well as Aetheryte Radio for Final Fantasy XIV, and a myriad of different shoutcasting, hosting, commentating activities for various groups and companies. I've been doing a lot of stuff with Blizzard recently, which has been really cool and really exciting. But have also done, stuff with ArenaNet, the pre-show, sort of live stream stuff, Reign of Dragons, or other content. Was over on their channel for Janthir Wilds release. And honestly, I just love MMORPGs. I love RPGs in all their forms, but MMOs really stole my heart. So we play a lot of them. We talk about a lot of them. And my Dawn Trail playthrough is going up on YouTube currently. My Janthir Wilds playthrough is on Twitch, and I have more of it to continue working on. And I've just started The War Within on Twitch as well. So we are like juggling expansions right now, but it's been really cool to play them all in tandem and actually get to kind of compare and contrast the experience across 3 different MMOs.
See, There's already the cheeky comments in chat. You two are just coming out with something. Shish you. Really as well. Don't you start. They know it's all about the banter. So yes, War Within, awesome. Yeah, there has been a lot. There is a lot of expansions. Like I've been playing Space Marine 2 this week as well, as the War Within, and also Guild Wars 2, and also Marvel Snap, and also which is my brain game for like coming up with builds. It's my in between session game like I have with clients, because it gets my head back into something else, and it gets into a little bit of a thinking, like, because I build decks all the time. I don't really I play, but I just like build things. I prefer to do it. Or I get my big Lego set out at work, and I just start fiddling about with it for a bit, which is kind of cool.
I love
the
Jebro
big
that you
Millennium Falcon on the wall. So the big
that's
Lego
so
one.
good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's cool. In my therapy office, I've got like Titanfall figure and stuff. I've got like Star Trek posters and stuff. Like it's a proper like in my nerd kingdom in there. It's wicked. And people walk in, they're like, "What?" There's a TV, and I've got like a Nintendo Switch there. Like sit there playing Super Smash Brothers with clients sometimes. Fucking great. Love it.
Yeah.
Podcast. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jebro, I love if you could just take your intro today as like, "Hi, I'm Jebro, and I love playing with Lego."
Yay!
Done.
I've got too much anxiety over which one to open first, so I haven't actually done that recently, but we'll find out soon.
I love imagining playing with Lego.
Imagine playing with my like actual video games as well. Like there's so many that I need to actually start.
Look, you never run out of cake tomorrow. Cake tomorrow is always there. Yeah.
Wait, is that a game?
No, that's a Terry Pratchett quote.
Oh, I was like, what?
Yes,
Never
Cake
run out
Tomorrow.
of Cake
the hit
Tomorrow.
game.
I'm never gonna remember that. The quotes from
it's
things.
the sequel to Overcooked. It's Cake Tomorrow.
I mean, I already love that game. Not gonna lie. Hey,
If you like cooking,
yeah.
If you like cooking, Chef RPG has just gone into early access, which is like an indie RPG. Yeah.
Ooh.
Have you seen? And I know this is rambly, okay, but it's MMORPG kind of related because it's like about dungeons. Wait, it's not going the way you think this is going. I know
tenuous link confirmed.
I know Fornex wants it to go that way, and Rookery is also like, maybe I do too. But it's actually about this anime on Netflix called, is it Delicious Dungeon or something?
Delicious in Dungeon Mage.
Yeah, I started watching that yesterday just because I really needed a laugh so bad, and I was like, there's a dwarf in it. It's gonna be good. And I was not wrong. It was so good.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite.
Blue-Eyed Samurai, though, is still the best. Blue-Eyed Samurai is still one of the best I've seen in a very long time.
It is incredible.
Although Chaos on Netflix with Jeff, fucking brilliant.
Is it? I was hoping it would be
genuinely brilliant. It's actually good.
Okay.
Actually good.
All right, good to know. Good to know.
We're catching up. We're just hanging out. We're just
we are totally just catching up now.
We do need to. We should just have like a show where we're just talking about like TV shows. General podcast.
I have many recommendations. Many. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. Anyway, so we've been talking about. I only just finished Janthir Wilds' story last night. I'm just gonna do like a hand signal like this, so that when I'm doing the chapters, I know exactly when to stop, because listening to the entire podcast can sometimes be a little bit too much, because I'm like, we are talking about everything all the time. Like, how do I separate this?
Full moon. Just full moon. You will not miss it then. Like
I can't do that on Twitch.
Full moon. You can't do. I've seen those streamers, those girls with the bouncy things. You can totally do that, can't you?
My butt does not look like breasts.
Well, Jebro, maybe you're just not trying hard enough, okay?
Although I have
way.
started a new workout recently where I'm doing lunges and also some squats. So now, you know, you could get there. But I am older. I'm an older gentleman. So there's, you know, probably a little bit of sag in there that people aren't prepared to witness.
I don't know.
Jebro, I truly believe, let me say this here and now to be documented forever on the Lightbringers podcast. I truly believe that your butt is fit. I believe that you are keeping it tight and keeping it real. And don't let the world tell you otherwise.
English peach.
I really appreciate that, actually. I'm not sure it's a peach, though. It's more like two badly parked
I'm going to put down the cider now.
Jebro, from here on out forever in your intros, you have to say, like, I'm Jebro Unity and I do stuff on Twitch and all that stuff, and my butt is like a small English peach.
See, everything in America is a lot bigger. That's true.
Yeah, but yours
Apart
is
from
so
some
it's
things.
quality. It's quality. You know what I mean? It's quality.
Yeah,
so.
it's not always about...
Small but perfectly formed. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so confused. I'm gonna have to wave my hands again because I'm like, are we starting again? Like, Jesus. We're on different places with our playing through of the Janthir Wilds, but I think we're kind of majority through the first map. I think the good thing is about Guild Wars 2, as we've always said, is that it's casual. And, you know, you're not really feeling like you're ever going to miss out on much other than potentially maybe, you know, the astral acclaim, I guess, that you can farm. But also, halfway through the patch, I'm normally like, oh, I can't bother with this anymore anyway. So I'm just like, why am I rushing? Why am I rushing? I just don't end up filling it out anyway because I just get bored. So that's like the only thing. So, you know, play the story, whatever. Like, play the maps. But there is more stuff to actually grind out. And I guess also with housing as well, there's a little bit more to do because you're going to only buy a certain amount of supplies every week. So there's a little bit more you can do every week, of course, and just the usual crafting. Yeah. All the fun time stuff. So I guess... I would like to propose our first ramble topic of the day. Because I don't know if I've got one.
For now. Now, you mentioned this before stream started, but now we're bringing it on to stream. We're bringing it here to the podcast. What is your hot housing take on Janthir Wilds?
God. Wow.
Takes a large
I like how
drink
Rick just
before
wants to
answering.
get like just the teeth in right now. We're getting that teeth into the small peach. Let's go.
I thought you said Pete then. I was like, what are we talking about again? I thought we were talking about housing.
What is Pete, actually? Isn't Pete something?
No.
It is something.
No. It is something, but we'll tell you when you're older, okay? You're too
Not
sweet.
the person. I'm going to stop talking because I can't remember what it is, and now I'm worried.
It's fine. Google.
Jebro, Peter is a dingle.
Definitely.
It's a dingle, Jebro. That's what Peter stands for. It's a dingle. Oh, yes. Otterscotch kindly says in chat, it's a type of moss.
That's it. That's the thing I'm thinking about. That was the one. That's it. Yes. Sorry. I don't feel bad anymore. Oh my God, the guilt's gone. The guilt and the shame is gone. I didn't even need to take my ADHD medication for that. That's great.
Oh my God. Hot housing take for next. Let's do that.
Right. Okay. No teats needed. So do I think that
Pete, I said Pete, not teats.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter. It's fine. We're moving on.
That's not
no
the
more
same
teats.
thing.
So they're not. Thank God they're not. Right.
Thank God.
So
Mossy teats would be awful. Sorry.
Homesteads, we definitely need more teats. The end.
Well, actually, you did talk about that earlier.
I do like.
Yes, please. Mordax,
the
please.
process
You can
of
do
unlocking. Yeah, I'm gonna ease into this. So
Thank you.
the dildo of consequence is coming lubed today.
Thank
So
God.
It has returned.
Be Be gentle with us. Jeez. Go. Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
Brooke, you were here when we talked about the DOC, right?
Consequence rarely arrives lubed is what I
This is a past conversation. This has been here before. This is the return of the DOC.
This has
It's called the DOC now.
Listen,
So we don't say.
normally, I would be right there. I'd be the one making the syphilis joke returns. I'd be the one cackling. I'd be the one laughing.
True.
No, I have not heard about the dildo of consequences, and now I am having my own dildo of consequence that come up in.
Wait, is it
not knowing what
more
the
than
DOC
one
is.
consequence or just one?
Well, it depends on how many dildos you have, Jebro, I assume.
I mean, currently none. But
never talking about homesteads, guys. I do just go home now.
Let's talk about Homestead in Guild Wars 2. If you can't do it, then I will be the one doing this. And
Okay,
would you like me to start so that you can take another sip of your alcohol and then I can...
Okay, I'm drinking already. Yeah.
Excellent. Good. This explains much. Housing in Guild Wars 2.
Oh yeah, that's right. Go on, you're fine. Hold, and don't hold your breath.
Oh man, I really thought I'd be the one that
Slow
would save
breaths.
us. Okay,
If you do out in and out through your
Come on,
nose, it's really helpful.
Okay, professionalism. So for next, we're talking about the process of unlocking, and I agree that I really liked the way that they introduced this. I honestly love how they introduced so many things in Janthir Wilds. You know, we had talked about like, hey, could we get something in the story where you introduce the new weapon that's being featured? Could we get, and here we are in Janthir Wilds, and they've done all that, right? There's the whole section where you kind of learn about the spear, and you know, you do the little story beats, and you come back and you show off what you've learned, and you know, you unlock that, the masteries. And I really love that they did that, as well as how they kind of led you into the housing and homesteads, right? Like it has an actual context. I was offended that ArenaNet had the gall to give me a housing unlock that made me cry a little bit. Like,
True.
come on, that seemed rude and uncalled for, but no, it was really sweet, and I thought the story and everything else about it, again, it taught us more about the coding, it taught us more about the characters in the story as well, which set up a lot of other things for, you know, how those characters even view other figures, how they relate to them, particularly with some of our character reveals and other context, you know, within the clan. So I thought it was such a good use of it. And the housing system itself, I'll set us up with some like sweet honeyed words, some berry honey words, before Fordex goes off on a hot take. I actually think the housing system is awesome. Like I haven't even been able to fully delve into it yet because I've just been working on so many other things. But like getting in there, even like messing with some of the original furnishings, showing it off on stream, like so many other folks that I know from other, you know, MMOs were watching and were just like, excuse me, you can do what? You can, how big can you make the bed? How small can you make it? Where can you place that? How can you clip this? What are the tools? And well, at first kind of figuring out how to use the different bits and pieces is a little clunky, where I was trying to like, okay, it's placed, so then I have to use this or this or this. I started to realize that once I was like learning how to use those, there was so much flexibility. And it just makes me so optimistic, even seeing folks get more and more adventurous as they've been able to get all of the different, you know, mats and, you know, get a ton of stuff for the housing and other things. As we now are starting to see like really cool builds coming out on Twitter and stuff. And I think it's such an incredible starting point. It's not perfect, of course. I think one of the biggest points of feedback I've seen is just that it still has the limitations of the amount of items per, you know, area kind of thing, which unfortunately does limit a lot of what you're able to do as far as details go in certain areas, like the interior of the house and stuff like that. So hopefully we can see an expansion of some of those features over time. But otherwise, like, I think this was a banger of a new feature to be added to Guild Wars 2. And it's really shown off that, like, hey, you can put in a whole system from scratch that has a ton of capabilities, a lot of considerations, and that really has nowhere to go but, like, just to get better. You know, like, anything that they do to put on top of this will be, like, the cherry on top, but I'm just like, thank you. New housing, furnishing sets. Excellent. Thank you so much. Oh, you expanded the area, like the amount of things I can put in the area. Thank you.
I am.
So I'm loving it.
I'm
agree
looking
with
forward
all
to
that.
the Crichton Herald's response to this, but then I'm going to show you some stuff that people have made, which I just Googled, and I'm like, what the hell?
The Hobbit Hole, it's amazing.
There are some
Extraordinary.
ridiculous things. My God, go Fornix.
Okay, so
not
I
Fornix,
do love-
Jesus, sorry. Unless you want to.
Fili in nomine sancti et domino.
Oh God.
Right, so
Jesus. I mean, not
I can
literally.
sing Latin hymns. You don't know me, babe. You don't know me.
Oh God.
Okay, so I can.
Let's do it now.
So, Panis Angelicus, Vit Panis Dominum, Sant Palis Angelicus, Futuris Beninun. No? Okay, so.
Only on a Wednesday night after I've had a pint.
So I love the housing system. I'm incredibly grateful that they've introduced it. And if you don't know, all the new features that you have in the homestead apply to the guild hall. So you can now make extraordinary things. There's no stacking required. You can make things gigantic. I set up my guild hall so that the LA lion looks like it's eating people who zone in, which was great joy for me to do. So that was fun. So that is fantastic. Also applies to the guild hall. Amazing, fantastic. I loved how we got it. I love how they're putting everything. They've turned to the story. They've embraced it. They've put the war clause into the storyline. It's only a couple of lines of conversation, but it's great. They've got the spear, which was what we were talking about, as Rook said, into the story so that we feel like it's a part of the world, and the narrative hands us the homestead as part of it. And I absolutely adore all that. As a feature in and of itself, I think it's great. It's got some amazing potential. The scaling, the fact that you don't have to stack things like you have to do, you have to jury rig in other MMOs, you have to stack things on top of things in order to do the funny, like having things growing out of the ceiling. You don't have to do any of that. They've basically given you Maya tools inside the game. So all the tools that they have in order to create the environments, I think we've got a pared down version of that. It is absolutely fantastic. I love it. The problem is, for me, sorry, I'm still quite sick. The problem is, for me, is that there are a lot of elements that have been locked down. So we have this vast area, this fantastic cove of our own, but we can't move the house, and we can't move the waypoint, and we can't move any of the buildings. So that would be something that I would like to see changed or opened up in the future. If I want people to zone into my house in a small dungeon, that's my call, not yours. It's my house. It's not a play area in the open world, right? So that kind of thing I would like to see open up. For me, the color palette as well. So it is very red. The ground is very red. You've got beautiful trees and a real feeling of the lowland zone in the backdrop, but it's a very sparse area that they decided to fill with hundreds of pieces of grass, which I do not understand. If you have not, go and pick them all up. You can make them gigantic and use like 3 pieces of grass to cover the whole zone, rather than using hundreds of pieces of the very small budget of items that we have to fill in this extraordinarily large zone. So that's another thing. They are going to have to figure out how they can have more items for people to really unleash their creativity. And we have a day and night cycle at the moment. So you can have it in the daytime, you can have it in the evening. That's great. Can we have a season, please? So that we can have winter and summer and spring, so that we can get away from that quite, for me, oppressive red color palette. That would be something that I would like to be able to do. There's also not a huge amount of... So I've been playing a lot of Palia. And if you don't know, it's not really fair to kind of compare the housing in Palia to the housing in any other game, because all the gameplay in Palia is directed towards the housing. And so it's the best housing experience I've ever had. You can grow your own flowers. You can grow your own trees. There's several different stages. You can plant a flower garden. These are the type of things that I would like to see integrated. So we know that there is a facility to grow plants in-game. You can get it... If you do like kudzu, you can get a little garden. if you on the Black Line trading post, there's a facility in order to have a small growing garden. It would be nice if they integrated that more so that people could grow flowers and make it feel more homely, more pathing, so that people can make paths. It's just a bit underwhelming and also fantastic. So it's a kind of a juxtaposition. Fantastic features that when they build on them are going to be amazing. But at the moment, I think things are a bit too locked down and they need to kind of allow players more freedom. And they certainly need to introduce more items because there's not a lot of objet d'art, little things that you'd have around in your house. And they've got a wealth. They don't need to make any new items. They just need to unlock them and integrate them into the system.
But if you want to recreate the Eye of Sauron, you are in luck. Yes, because you can do it. Because someone has. And it's amazing. Good Lord. Look at this thing. It's stupid. It's so good. No, it's not stupid, but it is wicked. Like, it's amazing. Like, what? Yeah. And then you go further in and you're like, look at the details and the windows and the door and like the archways and the way they've used all of the different things here. I'm like, what? This is so good. Yeah. And but like you said, like there's the house though in the background. It's just like, there it is. And there's my little cabin where all that other stuff happens. Sorry. I didn't mean it like that.
It has such massive potential, and people, someone's saying in the chat, what if people like don't bother with it? Honestly, you have no idea how much of an audience there is for this kind of Minecraft gameplay in games, and people who love RPGs also love building things, also love making things, and this is kind of a beautiful play space. But they just need to, it's brand spanking new. Of course, it's got that brand new car smell, but it's just, there are a few features that they've introduced it, so they want to see what people do. They don't know how players are going to break it, because as much play testing as you're ever going to get, as soon as you let loose the players, they're going to do things that you never thought were possible.
So
you have to let them play with it and see where the boundaries lie, and then kind of start like taking off some of the guardrails. So I appreciate that, but yeah, fantastic. Really happy that they've done it. Want them to build on it. Yeah. It's really positive, but yeah.
No, it's not perfect, right? And I don't think any of us even expected that it like would be when it released, you know? Like, I think it's still fantastic what they've put in here as far as the tools and everything else go. And like you said, there's so much potential with it that I will take that over anything else, like any other possibility where they didn't go as hard as they did on this, and they were just like, there, you get a place, and if you want, you can change the color of the couch or something.
You know, like
we see so much. And
not guild halls, sorry, Homesteads.
No, this is not a fair comparison. This isn't like a fair comparison. So I want everybody to know that I say this knowing it already in my head. But when I think recently about like features in games and like recent expansions that have come out that, you know, I was like, oh, I'm so excited for the potential of this. And then I was just like, a big one was Island Sanctuary in Final Fantasy XIV, which was supposed to allow you to play into exactly what you were kind of saying, Fornax, right? The fact that there is a demographic of player that wants this kind of farm sim, Minecraft, whatever, you know, the kind of, I put time and energy into things. I build them piece by piece. I customize. I do mundane gardening tasks. I decorate a place and make it look exactly how I want. It's that kind of just being able to sink yourself into something, and through that labor and effort to be able to uncover more and more fun, interesting, unique, or create and iterate off of ideas that you have in a way that's more freeform. And like when Island Sanctuary was announced, I was like, oh my gosh, this has so much potential. This is brilliant. So few other MMOs have thought about trying to appeal to this specific thing with the demographic. And then it came out and it was so under-delivered that like I still am shocked. And like, God, and it's fine just as a little side thing that you do, but like for just a little side thing that you do. You know, they didn't need to make a whole new zone and everything else, because really it fell so short of the mark. So all of that to say, housing in Guild Wars 2 was not like that. You know, it came out and I was like, this is amazing. They do have all the stuff in here that I would want. This is such an incredible start. They really considered a lot of things with it. But of course, now it's like, how does it grow? And I really hope, I mean, we've seen in chat, but you know, they've talked about how they want this to be something that they continue to develop. There's a ton more furnishings on the way and all kinds of stuff, right? So my hope is that they do actively integrate this even into future expansions. So, you know, if this is the homestead that we get for this expansion, maybe there will be, instead of guild halls in the future, another homestead that releases in a different region, that has a different mood, that has different architecture, or that has no architecture at all and is just like an open field that you can build stuff in, right? Like,
that would be amazing.
Yeah. So like, I really hope they do that. And if they don't, then I hope that they really focus on making this one instance something that is more flexible, right? Where, yeah, you could tear down the whole house on the property and you could put an entirely different one there, or you could do a different skin on it, or you could, right? So it's just about like, how do you keep investing in this? But I think that, like, really honestly, as far as expansions that have delivered some big new feature in a way that I think is so promising and really good, Janthir Wilds has been top of my list for this housing, because even if there are quirks and flaws and things that maybe right now we're a little more limited in with it, like, it still has so much potential and it still has a lot of tools you can play with, right?
Yeah. It's the
absolutely.
So this is where ESO started. They didn't have much, you know, they didn't have many things you could buy, or, you know, many different ways of getting different furnishings. It was just like the bog standard kind of, and you know, the colors of like Skyrim and Elder Scrolls Online, right? It's pretty dark. It's pretty like, you know, dank and kind of, you know, grubby, and that's what they had, right? And you had this little room. It was your first kind of little, you could just place stuff in there, like a box and a wardrobe and all this kind of stuff. And even that for Elder Scrolls Online was like, you know, pretty big. I can't remember if they had anything else on launch, maybe like one thing, but then every time they bring out an expansion, there's normally a new one, or they throw one up on the store for like $150. Just people buy it though, that's the thing. But that's their thing. That's their thing. Oh yeah, absolutely. People just snatch that stuff up. It don't even matter. Like, they know, and I think it's a little bit predatory, but hey, that's another conversation.
My wallet just flinched hearing that. It's
yeah,
like,
no, it's wild. But like, I think, you know, it's basically the whole system for me is way more intricate and fleshed out than I even imagined. Like, kind of was saying, like, I didn't know that it was going to be that good. I didn't expect it to be, which, you know, I mean, I should maybe have more higher expectations, I guess, but like, you know, I mean, but like, you know, when we had home instances, home instances, home instances and guild halls were like, but like mounts, I get it, but also they could still. I'm trying to think of a good ism from the words of the Crichton Herald. Fluffed it, something like that in the past with things like this. I mean, that's what I say. But it's really good. I'm logging every day to like up the to make sure I'm buying resources. And right now, I was one of the people who were like, I'm going to get in there, build loads of stuff. And I was like, actually, there isn't much that appeals to me in terms of like furniture and things, and I'm not sure I want to create something out of these bits and pieces because it's not really my style. Like, what I would love to do is create a really techie kind of, my main's an Asura, like I want to make a really steampunky themed kind of, you know, thing. But I haven't got loads of time for creating that right now, so I've actually just not done much. I've just kind of placed some stuff, but I'm saving up I'm doing the other side of it, so I'm saving up resources. I'm buying all the materials every week because you can only buy a certain amount, because I don't want to get to a point where I'm like, there's all the stuff and now I can't do anything because I'm limited to, like, you know, the amount of fibers I can, you know, harvest and stuff a week. So I'm just building that up now.
Just imagine,
which is pretty cool,
if they had a cultural armor. We've got cultural armor vendors. Perhaps they have a cultural furniture vendor in each city that you can go to and get culturally themed gear for and
I wouldn't
furniture. Yeah, I'd like that.
put it past them, right? Like there's any the thing is that I think we know that, you know, it's the beginning, right? They can only do so much, and it's not a housing game. It's Guild Wars 2, the MMORPG, and it hasn't got the budget, and it hasn't got the same staffing as like Elder Scrolls Online, which is where the other, you know. But they've also got mod teams like from outside of like the game, like the public, who just work on it, like, and put different things in the game to, you know, tools and stuff. And this system is way better than the base system in Elder Scrolls Online. The base core system they've got for housing in Elder Scrolls Online is old and rickety, and the modding is what has made it like a lot better. But obviously the resources and all the things they put in the game is from the team, but they've got so much of a bigger team. They're a AAA studio, you know. I mean, like, flipping out. It's wild, and you know, it's cool to think, oh yeah, in this game they got this, and in this game they got that for the building, and etc, etc. And then you think, oh, they've got like probably 30-40 people working on this one game where it's housing only and building stuff. Whereas the team in this, I mean, there's obviously a lot of people cross working on different things like assets, graphics, etc, sound, whatever. But like, there ain't that many people in comparison. There just isn't.
They always punch above their weight, though, don't they? They always
They do.
Yeah, absolutely.
They go for it. And look, sometimes there are like little bumps with that, you know, but honestly, I think that they still take big swings that are so worth it. And sometimes they just absolutely land it. Like, again, I think they've refined so much in Janthir Wilds that even coming off of the tail end of Soto, I've felt like, okay, all right, no, I'm pretty sure you took away exactly what you needed to. Let's see what happens this year. I'm really excited about it. I really think that, you know, this could have been how you nail the formula, and I think you've got it, right? Like, so I am still excited. And just out of curiosity, I was kind of looking up, and this is me just throwing stuff out because I can't find exact numbers. Because I was curious, right? We know that with this first initial launch of the housing, over the course of this year, we're supposed to end up with 500 housing items, roughly. They said like over 500-ish in a lot of their little tidbits about housing, right? And as I'm looking, granted, this was 2020, so it's definitely gone up by then. But like, even in 2020, Elder Scrolls Online, I see somebody talking about the fact that they think there's roughly 1,900 furnishing recipes in the game. Now I see right now we have 2,894 items in our database with furnishing items under, oh no, that's something different. So okay, so again, this is
there's
just me.
Recipes and then items, Yeah.
So I'm just, this is me skimming, right? Like, I don't know. I don't have all the data in front of me. I'm not sure how many housing items there are. How many unique housing items are there in Final Fantasy 14 Online?
7.
You can do the double testing, yay.
I'm scoping.
Research. 5.
5 housing items. Yeah, there's only 5 total. And again, it's kind of hard because this isn't like a piece of data that I think a lot of people are like looking for necessarily, but all of this,
niche, yes.
It's kind of like a weird niche question because people might ask like, how many staircases are there? But like, how many total furnishing items seems a little bit more abstract. So this is just me kind of gleaning whatever I can off the surface. But all of this to say, right? Introducing housing brand new into the game, including, I mean, the fact that guild halls exist and there are furnishing items there, right? But how they kind of use those, reappropriate them, or anything else, you know, we have to kind of see. But then getting 500 new unique items. Honestly, I think that Guild Wars 2 is in a really good place to have all the items that, you know, we would want. Like, Jeb, you know, you're saying I want a Nasura techie kind of thing. I want maybe the ones that are in there right now don't really appeal to me. Will we get cultural housing vendors? Will we get... And I think the fact that like 500 now, when you even kind of look or compare to what you can maybe sort of see from other MMOs, 500 at launch, I do think is really solid amount.
Yeah.
And so if they continue to add additional items through Black Lion, through expansions, through, right? Then I think before we know it, we're going to have a massive amount of items. Now, of course, if they don't like add anything after this expansion, that will be a very different story. But I really do think that, you know, right now we're just suffering the fact that like it was just released, you know, it was just released. They gave us some starter stuff that is at least gets you rolled into the system, gets you knowing how you kind of have to do it. And then that kind of fits the current theme of the expansion and the homestead itself and what's happening, right? To kind of get people into it. But I'd like to see them continue to expand all of that as well, right? Because I do think we need a variety of different styles. And I'm also very curious to see how they handle the crafting components, materials and stuff like that for it. Because I was a little surprised, right? I thought like, oh, maybe after the little initial tutorial with Warclaw, like maybe with my Warclaw, I can go around and find these special saplings on the map and I can use the chain pull and pull them down and I'll get like 3 times the amount of lumber, like housing specific lumber or something. And then I was surprised to find out that after I did that, like after I did that little story beat, that like you don't actually use the Warclaw to go around and like harvest stuff, which is good on one hand because you don't have to go through the animation every time. But like also I was kind of excited. Like I kind of was into it. And I was like, if they give me more from the nodes for using this, then I will absolutely do it. Or like if in the future they expand it so that other mounts would be able to gather other types of materials using some sort of special action, then I would totally do that, right?
System integration. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, please. We like it.
So I hope that they kind of expand as well on how you can get some of the mats, or if you can like find certain mounts, even if there's some iteration of those rewards that you're getting that's like just specific to some kind of housing currency that you can convert to mats or something. Like I know we don't need more currencies in this game, but I would have liked that. I do think it's great already though that it does kind of encourage you to go around and interact with those nodes and gather stuff, even if you weren't necessarily doing that a lot beforehand though. So it feels nice to have a place to be able to more actively use some of those materials and things.
I mean, they're so fond of achievements. I can see a whole bunch of achievements being put into the game specifically for homesteads to unlock specific items. Because we have that already in terms of like the guild halls with all the trophies and the statues for the raid encounters and the magic mirrors that do like teleporty from Kadim and stuff like that. So I can imagine that them integrating some of that in, but I think it's a process of having to integrate and transfer over these assets from into the new system, and I feel that is not quite as straightforward as we might feel it is with a game that's quite as elderly as Guild Wars 2 is now, right? So yeah.
Well, Scotch says, I will. What did he say? I have said this for years. I will raid for end tables.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I would not be surprised at all to see them in the future even retroactively add furnishing items into stuff. I mean, they just announced that we... Yeah, right, they should. Like, they just announced that we are getting, like, a Return to Path of Fire event thing.
Oh, yeah.
And like that, even something like that would be a great opportunity if they wanted to run an event like that, where they could say like, hey, right now is a great time because we just put a whole bunch of Path of Fire furnishings. So if you participate in the Return to, like, you'll be able to go back and do all the stuff and get, you know, like get those new furnishings or revisit old content or help new players through, or right. So I think they have more than enough opportunities to do it that might work with their workflow. Hopefully, right? Or even just in future content.
You think about the PvP stuff that they're testing it now. Come help us test out this game type and get
a free sandwich platter.
Thing for your homestead. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, get something for your homestead.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Is there any, can I transition us with that thought to what you all think about the new PvP mode, or is there anything else that anybody wants to say about the housing stuff specifically?
Not really, because I think it's just I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for it to hit.
What did you think about it, dear? Share
The
your
new
thoughts.
PvP mode.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I don't know what it is. Well, I do. It's because I played Overwatch for so long. But payload style PvP content, I love it. I love it. I love the way it works. I love the team fights. I saw somebody complaining. About like, yeah, this new game mode has promise, but what I don't like about it is the fact that I can spend the whole match trying to get the crystal to the other side, almost get it there, and then the other team will grab it. We have to fight all the way across the map again, and then they win. And I was like, that's what I love about payload.
But that's the game mode. That's literally the game mode. What are you talking about?
I know, I was literally like,
it's got a comeback mechanic. That's what is the thing about it. That's why people like that mechanic. That's why it's used by flipping everyone, because it's simple. But
it's not over until it's over.
Exactly.
And like usually if you're sweeping it all the way back like that, you are fighting an uphill battle. You might be in overtime, the pressure might be on. So if you pull it off, it's even more clutch. Like it's even more fun. And that's just part of the game. And I love it. I love it. I've seen people like commenting on it and being like, so basically they took this from Final Fantasy 14 with Crystalline Conflict. And then I like look at 14 and I'm like, so basically you took this from Overwatch. And then I look at Overwatch and I'm like, so basically you took this from Team Fortress 2, which took it from like, it's just a type of, it's a game mode, everyone. Like
it's
just a moving King of the Hill. Like, you know, basically it's just like, it's I'm actually queued for it right now because I want to show it.
Is it British Bulldogs? It's British. Is it British Bulldogs?
British
like
Bulldog
a kid's
is
street game.
Well, I mean, British Bulldog is 2 walls, and you have some people in the middle like tagging you as you run between each wall. So it's not really the same. But and the version I played when I was a kid, it's definitely it's probably similar, because that was more PvP oriented. It was called Join the Crew, and you just used to beat the crap out of each other. So that you would join their crew and you would stand in the middle with everyone else and just be like, join the crew. Oh,
Full
God,
disclosure.
my face hurts now.
I've never played Overwatch.
that's okay. That's fine.
Also,
honestly,
do you want a description of what let's describe exactly what it is. So, Rookery, we have 2 teams, right? We've got something we have to guide to a place. We escort it. It's like, you know, you're
I've done
escorting
Juggy
something.
Rodding in the original Guild Wars.
Uh,
in Jade Quarry.
I can't
it's
remember.
basically
It was
just
a
like,
Jade Quarry map where you escort things to different parts for resources, but
yes,
It's just
but
one
it's
thing.
more like it's a capture the thing and then take. It's like a slow version of trying to get the ball into the net, right?
yes, you've got it. It's basically like you take control of, we can just say like a car with a bunch of diamonds in it. Like, and one team or the other wants the diamond car. And so like you have to get on it, you have to hold control of it, and usually holding control of it involves something about like being in proximity of it, or like you have to be able to get it pushing your direction across the map, basically towards your garage at the end, your goal at the end. So like you have to kind of win the team fight to be able to make progress, push it closer and closer and closer. But the other team, of course, can come in, they can destroy all of you, they can capture it, and then they can push it back across that track towards like their goal so that they get the diamond car. And it's a very similar like pretense, but I feel as though why it's been so successful in games and in PvP in particular is because it's a very simple concept, right? It's a very simple concept. You come in, you say, you want the diamond car, push it to your thing, and then like everything else that comes off of that, all of the nuance or layers of the strategies or how you might adapt to certain maps or how you might, like that's where all of the kind of skill ceiling and the team play coordination and other stuff all comes in.
Emergent gameplay as well, people bringing up strategies and compositions and yes, okay.
Yeah,
I understand
exactly.
that. Thank you.
Also, it's on the stream now. I'm in one of the games.
I'm watching.
If you need to watch, if you need to look. So you've still got the 2 bases. You've still got, so red team, blue team, you've got the henge is the thing in the middle, which we're fighting over. And basically in this version, because it's not the same in every version, every game, if you're fighting over it and there's one member of each team in the circle, nothing happens. It doesn't go anywhere. So you need to kill people to do that. Now, you can see all of the stuff on the sides. Like there's this dragon hunter, for example, who's doing a pretty good job at just basically annoying me on the side. And there's like really good places where you can hide and you can kind of just hang out. But like, you know, there's still people pushing a bit too far. So we're going to kill this necro here. And we've got someone on the point. We need to kill them. Please don't rally. No rallying. But like this, I have had some wicked like fighting. Like this person's gonna get res because no one's focusing because people suck.
You
but
must
like,
finish people off. You must finish people off.
they're not doing it,
yeah.
and that person's gonna go down over there. So like we're literally, this is what it is. This is all it is right now. A team fight.
That's
like
fun.
Rook said.
Yeah.
Like it's just killing people. And in Guild Wars 2, that's what people like doing the most.
Yeah.
Like it's that at first, but then as it continues and it get like the mode actually moves forward, you see buffs coming out. Now there's a buff which pushes it faster. I can't remember exactly every single buff because I've not played it much, but I can't remember each one specifically, and that's going to change. But there's like a buff where basically you push it, like it gives you a little bit more advantage for pushing it if you cap it. But if you're the team that's winning, you don't push it as much as the losing team. So the losing team's always getting some kind of benefit from the buffs that are on the map. That's basically the gist. There's also a stacking damage buff, I believe, whilst you have for carrying it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's the case right now. It might not be. I thought there was, but that might be the buff. That might be the buff that you actually have to get for that. I can't remember. Someone in chat might be able to remind us. All I know is that I'm trying to kill people. Oh, morsel contest.
The more dynamic the map, the more like complicated, more maze-like the map, the more options people have. I know there's verticality as well that can be used.
Yeah, like there's some
I have
steps
seen some
over
trailers, but yeah.
Yeah, you're totally on it. But I think this solves a bit of one of the sort of problems of PvP in Guild Wars 2, which is that it's not as though a lot of the game modes like you can't learn them and pick up what you're supposed to do generally. But I think that when you're new and you're coming into them, it can be very overwhelming at times. Like, what are the strategies? What am I supposed to do in here? Is it just a full-on free-for-all? Is this one where I have to go ding the bell and then do the thing? But do I just go capture this point, or like how, right? So like, I think this kind of PvP mode, and seeing them actually come out with a new PvP mode is so exciting because, I mean, it shows some attention to it that they haven't done recently, you know, like developing something new for it and taking a look at what's been successful across the board sort of elsewhere. And on top of that, developing a mode that's a little bit more streamlined in its concept that, you know, has a lot of Jebro pulls amazing faces, like a little more streamlined in its concept. It's familiar to people that have a baseline of understanding of like trends and kind of PvP games right now. And it's much more streamlined to be able to get into and just like attempt more manageable, I think, for new players. So like for the first time in a long time, I actually was like, I might PvP in Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna do.
And now's a good time to do it because you've got a week.
Off.
Well, actually, you've got till Monday. But that is the one thing where I'm like, oh, actually, you know what? They should have done this for longer. Because one weekend doesn't feel like enough time, like for just this opening bit. I'm like, you know, if this mode in my opinion should be focused on the more casual player, like who's got not as much time to play as the people who are currently playing Guild Wars 2 PvP, because the people who are currently playing PvP in Guild Wars 2, you know, they're playing a lot, and it's a small community. Like, you know, this needs to appeal to a new audience, like an audience that isn't coming in to do this. And the easier it is to play, like the easier it is to understand, and the easier it is to play, and the more rewarding it is, the more people are going to get into this. So it's not going to be.
I think
We still got Conquest as well, to be fair.
this is why. So as a Care Bear and as a person who probably cares a bit too much about letting their teammates down. Thank you. I got my belly. My belly is ready to glow. But I get really nervous about letting my teammates down, which is why I kind of took me a long time to get into raiding as well. And my kind of favorite types of player versus player is large group encounters, because I feel like when there's more of you, you feel like there's less pressure on you, unless you like. You're playing the tank and the healer at the same time, which is also fuck off with that. That's just too much. But anyway, because that's what I have to do sometimes, and it's very stressful. But that's why I think I really gravitated towards Ultrac Valley.
Did you say levitate? Just saying, like I'm just like levitate. I mean, I like that. That's fine. I can't even say it again. Oh my god! Anyway, I've just read your whole thing.
I gravitated towards Ultrac Valley. And why
I love that mode so much.
Oh, so
Did you
good.
play there was like month-long games of Ultrac Valley before they nerfed that.
Yes.
It was so good.
It was so good. Yeah. We have to do. Guys, you have to persuade Jebro to do a WoW podcast. I've actually made like a load of art.
Oh my god!
Now. Okay.
There is this art now.
There is art now, and it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. Okay.
Of course it is.
Oh, I mean, if you made it, it's amazing, actually. So.
Oh no!
Sorry. You have not seen it. You'd have to the proof of the pudding.
It's a good pudding.
It's also why I like World v World. Because you have that PvE feel. You're with your friends. You're in a group. You can have a role. You can be support. You can be damage. You can even go in as a tank. And tanks are super handy for kind of holding points and annoying players. And they're very handy in like when you're doing like Zerg versus Zerg situations where you're just trying to just stay alive. And there's, you don't feel that intense pressure of a 5-man group where if you're not where you should be and on the point and pushing and doing this, that, and the other, people can get rather shirty with you. And when you don't know what the fuck you're doing, it's super intimidating. And that's why I prefer like the big Zergy type, because you can do a skirmish group. You can go havoc in World v World in a group of 5 people and go and bother the shit out of everybody on the map and have a lot of fun. You really can. But yeah, this is why I'm a bit hesitant to go into this kind of content. It scares me because I wouldn't want to kind of let the team down. That's the problem for me.
I think that is the same with any PvP game mode, I guess. I guess it depends on how much value you place on how well you do, right? So like I over the years, like I mean I can get fairly salty. And oh dear. I know I really just don't play anymore because it really just, you know, honestly, like there are there's some pretty awful people in the mode, but there's some pretty great people as well. But like any PvP mode, you know, there's those people, but it shouldn't be that way. And I think predominantly that's part of the problem. And I think if ArenaNet think that the main thing they need to do is create just a new game mode to get people involved in this, they're not going to get what they need out of this, because what they need to do is they need to do better at managing the community and doing better with banning people that are just toxic, and implementing systems so that if you do feel like you're not doing well, there isn't someone on the end saying you are the worst person in the world and you should XYZ, because that is part of the problem.
I have a solution for this. So rather than punishing
we attach
assholes.
parts of their body to a meter, and if they do things, they get electrocuted.
Anyway, so
might be harsh, but
let's leave people's testicles alone. Let's just like.
Oh, I didn't say testicles. Okay. That was you.
You're not saying that? Okay.
I didn't say that.
So rather than punishing the assholes, you reward the good players.
I mean that as well, right?
When you are nice, you can give someone. So example, Rook, in 14, darling, you're up. In 14, you can have a ban at the match, can't you, basically? You can do like a player and they go, well, you were really good and you really saved us and you used that clutch and you saved the raid. And it's sometimes the white mage for like resing everybody and it's great. Yeah.
This is literally what's happening right now in the game. They're coming back. They've literally been losing the whole game and they're about to win. What the hell? Like, come on, man. Sorry.
So you have a person who's done a really good job, or and you can give them a little star. You can say they were really nice. No, nothing negative. You can't say that fucker that. You can't do that. It's all positive. And if you get a star, and if you can give a star to everybody who's been nice, they get more PvP points, like 2%, 5%. The more stars you get over the week, your percentage of rewards slowly increases. And if you don't get stars because you're being an ass-cock monster, then you're earning rewards at a slower rate than people who are nice. So it's actually rewarding good behaviour and at the same time making it more difficult for people who are cock monsters to succeed.
Fornax, I love your concept in theory, especially all the cock monsters.
Thank you.
I mean, we don't love those, you know what I mean? But like, I love that they're a part of this discussion. No, I love the idea. I think it has been proven to be a little trickier in practice with some games that have implemented this, right? Like, which again, I don't know if there's a really, really good solution, right? Because like in 14, for example, with comms, sometimes people, if they're trying to get the commendations to become a mentor or stuff, right? They might be really nice, they might be friendly, but because oftentimes people tend to calm tanks or healers just without a second thought on their way out, folks that are playing on DPS really struggle, even if they're, being funny or if they're posting encouraging things in chat, or, you might like get somebody that is really friendly, but for whatever reason, maybe the rest of the party are all friends or whatever, and they all just bail at the end and they don't calm, or you figure out how you want to set it up so that you can try to manipulate getting that so you get the most rewards every week, and whatever that means or how you do that, right? I still don't dislike the idea. I think Overwatch kind of ended up expanding some of its, like, at the end of the match, you could kind of vote for like an MVP sort of thing. Yep. But then they kind of expanded it out as well, where you could give different people different things, like best shot caller or good team spirit or stuff like that, so that like you weren't just having to pick and choose like one. You could select different things if you felt like those people did well, and then everybody could kind of get something. I also am curious if, but again, games have to have the support staff for this, because 14's solution to PvP harassment was to just disable the ability to type to one another in chat.
I actually think that's a really solid idea.
I mean, it isn't good, because it can make it harder to do high-end coordination and gameplay, but it does eradicate people being able to say garbage, terrible, hateful, awful stuff. And if you give players tools to like say like to the left, flank, like go up, fall back, like people will still sarcastically be like, nice game, nice game. But that's better than them being like beep 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 boop boop beep 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 boop boop beep beep beep.
And they're limited as well, right? They started limiting that after a period of time, didn't they? Because people did it in the games. Because I literally like resubbed to Final Fantasy just to play it. But like it was pretty good.
But I think there are ways that you can limit that. But I also can't help but wonder if there would be able to be something where you could, at the end of the match, maybe you have the like good encouragement screen or something, and there are multiple options to be able to, acknowledge the people that you want to acknowledge. Yeah. And then if there was
doesn't have to be about gameplay. It doesn't have to be about gameplay. It's just about being nice and
right.
Yeah.
And like maybe if you take the time to do that as well, I don't know, it gives you a little boost or something. I don't know. But like they could put something down at the corner as well that was just like a flag player for behavior or something, which could just bookmark a chat log or something like that, like a timestamp, and allow you the opportunity to report bad behavior that could then be verified. But of course, that requires the staff to verify it and to like go back into the chat log and see if somebody was being terrible or see if. So it's this kind of continual thing where
I know
it's always difficult.
There is something being worked on by Riot right now, which is actually an AI tool. Which they're going to try and implement, or this was about 6 or 7 months ago. It might have been, I'm not sure if it was the end of last year. I'm re-looking this up for League and other stuff, but where there's an AI bot which looks over chat logs and, you know, analyzes them and uses all the language, like, you know, that we know, like all the meme language as well, the things that people may not know, and they are analyzing not only text chat, but voice as well. Because, you know, there's so much abuse, obviously. I don't need to tell you two that online for all types of folks, and it's just like it's so awful that, you know, there are, you know, Riot's actually doing something I think it's Riot anyway, doing something pretty good towards that. So there are tools, but like, you know, the only other thing I can say, the only thing I would say to people is literally, if you don't want to hear from others, get in the chat. Don't just disable it for a start, because you can do that. Disable the chat, clear it out, and then just play with your mates and have a laugh and enjoy the thing for what it is. If you're playing to play ranked and you want to improve, there's going to be frustration. Just don't take it on other people. Yes, I've done that in the past, and I scream and shout when I'm on stream, but I don't tell people in chat that. I'm just doing it. It's just content. It's just me flipping about, just saying ridiculous stuff. Like, you know, why is that guy walking around with no trousers on? It feels like he's just doing absolutely F all. You know, I'll say that kind of stuff. I'm not telling them, like, you know, they are literally the worst human being on the planet, you know, which is what a lot of people do.
If you played a healer and you haven't muted your chat, then darling, you're doing something wrong.
I mean, that's right.
Like, why the fuck are you standing in the fight? I mean, Frank, again, for fuck's sake.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So
like,
this is a day ending in a Y.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly think, and this is something that goes for like any content mode, anything, right?
Yeah.
Protect yourself and your own experience of the game. Like, if you want to get into something like PvP, approach it from an angle that works for you. Like, for next, how you were talking about, you know, larger scale modes and stuff like that, take some of the pressure off, and then you feel like you can kind of engage, right? Like, approach it from an angle that works for you. Disable things that cause points of stress, like the chat.
Definitely.
You know, take a look at stuff. Like, it is difficult because there is a sense, like you were talking about earlier for next, there's a sense of, right, like personal responsibility, you know?
Yeah.
But I think like with any game mode, especially any game mode that isn't just like open world, I do whatever kind of, you know, like, but that's rather like a coordinated group effort. Like, there will always be some degree of responsibility that you have in it. But if you can find a way to give yourself a positive environment and to, you know, give yourself fallbacks and securities as well, to, you know, grace to learn and all that kind of stuff, I think that, you know, even smaller modes like this one for PvP can be really fun, because in a way, like, when your personal responsibility rises to some degree, like if you can find your comfort in it, I think that's where the impact of what you can do as a single player feels so much stronger, right? Like, and how you can kind of actually be that healer for your party that saved the day and saved the run. How you can be like, you know, you can coordinate one-on-one with somebody and be like, we're going to pull this off and it's going to be so good. And like, you make it happen, right? As opposed to just kind of being one in a big faceless group. It creates a tighter knit sense of collaboration and teamwork when it's at its best. Of course, that isn't always the case, but you know, I think some of it is figuring out how to have a good environment, and a lot of that is on the dev team, but that's also on like us as players, how we approach it, who we queue in with, what we disable that's causing stress, how we give ourselves room to learn and make mistakes, right? I think a big turning point for me, even in like Overwatch, was when I stopped looking at deaths as something that I was like, oh, this sucks, I can't believe I died, oh, I feel so bad about myself, I messed up, I did such a bad thing, like, or this was totally unfair, and instead started going, how did I die? Why did I die? How can I not die like that again? What if this person like corners me in this room and does the exact same thing that this person did? Then how do I know to respond to it next time? And I started looking at those things as like, more so learning opportunities of like, well, this didn't work, so what will? And I think that's a big thing with PvP, but of course it takes an
What's the
environment.
other thing is really important in other areas? I mean, you're talking about life right now. That's life. Like, that's what we hopefully do, right? Like, it's a really, really, really good way of explaining it. Solid. Love it. Like, because that's right. Like, if we start blaming other people, we don't improve, we don't grow, right? We don't heal, we don't do anything. We don't heal. Literally, if you're a healer. You just get knocked on your ass every time. But like, you know, that's right. That's absolutely so gone.
So you actually cannot control what happens in the world. The only choice that you have as an individual is how you respond to what's happening. And that's where your agency lies. You don't get to control other people, you don't get to control the environment. How you interface with it, how you react, whether you react or not, that's on you. I also think that all that is true, what you just said, and beautiful. But also, I think that the best bit of advice I could give anyone who's wanting to get into like big group modes is to find a community online. Come and join Jebro's community, join Rook's community. I've got a Discord where the Crichton Herald Guild Discord, where every Saturday we jump into game, we have a laugh, we do guild missions. Anybody's doing anything, anybody wants to do anything, anyone wants to do strikes or anything like that, we do it together as a group so that anyone who's brand new to strikes or raids or anything like that, we can talk to them, we can ease them into it, we can help them. And it's a community so that you don't feel like you're having to like raw dog it and go into these communities and you don't know anybody and everyone's like, seems like they know exactly what they're doing. And you're like, oh fuck, what am I doing? So yeah, finding a really, sorry, I shouldn't have used the raw dog. That was totally inappropriate.
Just say it again, it's fine.
that is the most inappropriate. That's the most inappropriate thing you've said on stream today. Yeah, that one.
That was the one. But
yeah,
yeah,
just in case.
good community, yeah. It's super important. And I highly recommend any of ours, but there are so many fantastic, like if you love flying, there's Wings, which is a guild, and they've got a Discord, and they're a fantastic community if you want to learn how to fly their birds like they do, they're amazing. So yeah, good community. Join a community online and get in with your mates.
For sure. All of this to say, I agree 100%. Like, you know, find those good pockets of community, and if you're in, you know, groups, communities, etc., that end up proving to be toxic or that, you know, are tearing down your enjoyment of the game, then look for those communities that are going to build you up. But all this to say, with the PvP feature and this new mode that's coming, I'm excited. I'm hopeful because, you know, I even saw, for those of you who are with us here live today, I see in the chat that there have been comments about how insular and small the PvP community is in Guild Wars 2. But I think a lot of that is also just because, like, a lot of folks haven't had a good entry point to it. We've, you know, some of the other things and support and stuff that we've seen around it, you know, has perhaps stagnated a bit over time. So having like a new mode like this, having, you know, some new ways to kind of get into it, gives me hope that they can continue figuring out how they might want to like develop it and how we can make the scene a bit bigger, or even get people like me who, like I said, I like PvP in a lot of other games, but in Guild Wars 2, although PvP in Guild Wars 2 can be really fantastic, I in the past kind of bounced off of it for a variety of reasons, and just found it a little bit obscure to get into. But things like this new mode give us a good opportunity to help, hopefully, build it up and build it out a little more. You know, even in 14, we saw that change when they added a whole new mode and an overhaul. So
yeah, and it's good. It's really fun. Do we talk about another thing? Is there anything else anyone wants to talk about? I mean, there's loads of stuff we can talk about. We've had a good old ramble today. It wasn't necessarily, there wasn't really a goal. I mean, the goal was just to ramble, and we've done that. Maybe we could end with something. What could we end with? I don't even know. We've not been going for a bit, an hour and a bit. What ramble
Favorite.
on? It's a good song. It's a good song. It's one of the best songs. One of the best ones.
Favorite parts of Janthir Wilds so far, or
yeah, go someone else.
I was gonna suggest that we talk a little bit about like our experiences with, like, you know, all the expansions in Janthir Wilds that have been releasing and like what we think they did well. But I think that's a little bit too big for
Maybe a little bit right now. My brain is like, but the thing that I have
Took
enjoyed
a little bit, I guess.
the most so far, the people are talking about it in chat. Yeah, tell us, chat. What are you liking about it so far? Don't chat and don't spoil any story, because there are
spoilers,
people
yeah.
who have not played it. I think for me, it has been probably just checking out each of the different events each time. There's a lot. And when you first get into the maps, and then you realize that there's so many events going on, and then they're just happening all the time. I think that, you know, they happen quite often, and I'm not sure if they need to happen that often, but that might be just a population trigger. I don't remember why they trigger so often. It might be just like a population thing. But I think that there's a good balance of events, and the fact that there isn't just this wild meta all the time to like push across the map and spend an hour and a half doing to 2 hours. Like, if you want to do that, there's Resorwood Coast, which is wicked, and you can just go do that, and the other ones, which is a lot, but the fact that there isn't another one right now is good, because it's just got, I'm trying not to spoil that map for Rick, but there's, you know.
Oh, I've seen the bosses on that map.
Okay.
If that's what you're trying to
Good.
spoil. So,
Yeah. Okay, cool. So there's just 2 bosses on the what was it called? Sentry, Gemfish Sentry. That's the one. And that's it's not too hectic, you know. It's just 2 big bosses. They got to die around the same time, otherwise one of them respawns, and that mechanic's elsewhere in the game as well. There's some really nice. There's some awesome little stories in the events as well. There's like some really tragic stories. Actually, most of them are. Most of them are really tragic, like painful stories about, you know, a mother, like, you know, trying to get revenge for the death of their cub and stuff, and like literally protecting a cub that is being killed by like all of these Titans or whatever, and you've got to defend and heal them. And then there's another event like that in Sentry where you're doing that, but it's with a bush or something, I can't remember, but like, you know, and you're healing it, and you're just throwing like alchemy on it, and like just trying to, you know, make sure the forest is surviving and stuff. But then you've got the stuff with the mantle as well, the white mantle, and there's so much stuff with the white mantle there, like, you know, all the stories from all the ghosts and the past, and you're just like, you learn about it, like the lore without playing the story is probably some of the best like storytelling they've done, literally. And that's coming from me. You know, and I'm paying attention, I'm stopping, I'm listening, I'm interested, I'm looking at something, I'm going back on the wiki, I'm pulling it up, I'm really interested in it. It's getting me interested in the lore from the past game, and just being like, oh, what's this all about?
Call a friend. You can call a friend.
Absolutely. Cool. I'll watch a video probably. Like, you know, there's so much, and that makes me want to just go back there all the time, and I can do that as I'm like farming new materials and new stuff on my homestead and doing the astral vault. And it's just like, if I log into Guild Wars 2, I have something to do now. Like there is a lot, and it's a mixture of like, I can play the events, I can do this, I can do that. So I don't know, I like the expansion. I think I just like the expansion. Actually, I think I just like everything so far. And the fact that the PvP testing has just been like, okay, it's not going to be like Alliances where we just wait for 7 years, which, you know, isn't that far off how long they actually waited for that, and still hasn't really happened. Like, you know, sorry, I didn't mean to deep burn there. PvP testing we've had a week, and it's already happened within the first like month of it being released. So, you know, they're meeting some expectations, and they're not trying to give us false hope of things. They're delivering on some of the stuff, and they delivered on Homesteads to a level which I think is absolutely fine right now. And unless they don't expand on it, then it won't be okay, but I don't believe that's the case. So I think there's a bunch of stuff to be happy about with this expansion, and which is still, in my opinion, the best expansion they've released. Boom.
Dang.
Biscuit tin. There. It's over there.
Fornax, you wanna follow up? You wanna share your thoughts?
Sorry. Hold on.
So I really enjoyed the expansion. I'm still I feel like I'm still acclimatizing to the smaller scale. I've got to be real. I'm still acclimatizing, but it's significantly less money, and the quality, I feel they've pushed it up there again after the first one. Secrets was a bit of a in many ways a hit and a miss for me. There were some elements that I really liked. There were some elements that I thought that they dropped the ball on. There were some elements where I feel like their ambition outstripped their ability to deliver. But here, they seem to have kind of pared back what they're delivering, and they're focusing on quality rather than necessarily, in story terms, quality. Because in terms of like the story beats that we got, you could have delivered that in like a couple of instances, really, because there's not a huge amount has happened. But what they focused on was us integrating into this society, understanding the characters more intimately, giving us more time to breathe in the world, to settle in. It was a better pacing for me. I mean, if you enjoy like content, hair on fire, just burn through it, this is not going to be for you. But if you want to sit back and you want to enjoy the world and you want to experience it and you want to like immerse yourself in the culture, this is great. And they're giving these characters time to breathe. And they didn't randomly murder anybody, which was great. Fantastic. Gorgeous. Wonderful.
Not yet. We don't know. No one knows. No, you may experience murdering yet if you haven't played the story through. You don't know, actually. Because there could be potential murder.
Destruction incoming.
Crown Herald would actually saved you from some, maybe, who knows, potential spoilers of a no-death expansion.
I apologize. I don't know. I feel like as a people collectively, I think we're ready for some good stories. I think we're ready for some good news and some happiness. And I feel like a lot of the expansions that I played through have had this more less despair and destruction necessarily. Even, I mean, so for example, Warcraft, great story. There's a love story in there, and it's sweet and nice and kind, and it's between a man and his wife, and it's lovely. And there's no kind of like bum note, kick you in the testicles, smack you in the face on the way out. They just love each other, and it's great. And it felt good to watch them love each other. And you have these like beautiful like ancient civilization that you get to interact with both in Warcraft and in Guild Wars 2, and you're kind of rediscovering these lost people, and it's wonderful and it's just interesting, and the music is great and the characters are likable, and you just want to, they're such cute teddy bears, you just want to squidgy, they're so cute, and I just enjoyed it. It was just nice, you know. Death, destruction, despair, cow immortals is fine, but I feel like just back it off a bit for a little while. There's a lot of shit going on in the world. Let's just have some nice stories. So I'm very happy with all this.
That's true.
And I do enjoy that they've decided their lane. They're going to integrate all of their systems into the story. They're starting now, and they're pacing better. I think one of the huge problems that they had before is pacing, and I think they're starting to find their feet with the pacing the narrative.
Yeah, I would agree.
Rick? You get to also answer this question.
I think you both bring up some really excellent points about how I felt. You know, I think that it's a mistake to expect every single like expansion that exists to have the same tone, quality, pace, urgency, narrative ramp up, etc. Right? Secrets of the Obscure, at least at the start, dropped us very much into the action. Suddenly we were part of this huge thing. We were being rolled along with it, and we were, you know, all this action and going into the realm of demons and all this kind of stuff, right? And Janthir Wilds is incredibly different in tone. it kind of starts out as a mystery, right? Like where you're going, we don't exactly know what's happening, but there are some murmurings and, we're looking for this person. So, you're going to have to try to go find them and maybe see if you can figure out what this historically, magically fraught and, this place that has been so contentious, like what it actually holds in the wilds of Janthir, because this is a region that has given rise to a lot of different things over the years, but that we've never been to. So the tone I thought coming into it was fantastic. I thought the pacing and everything else with it was appropriate, right? I really like how they actually kind of introduced you. They let you have those segments where you're sort of exploring the environment. You hear a scout cry out for help in the distance and you run to them. It felt like, especially because I had just finished Dawn Trail, it felt like a much more organic immersion narrative of going to a place that you don't know very much about than how even Dawn Trail handled it, which was a little bit more of a show and tell. Like, we go to this place, we talk to 5 villagers, they tell us about their cultural, and I would love to see these two merge their storytelling kind of methods, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that the introduction we had to the code and everything else, is it the most high stakes action packed? No. But I think just like you were saying, Fornax, it establishes the characters, it establishes the culture, it establishes even things like the World Council and makes us feel important for the stuff that we've done thus far. Because when you think about it, what is one figure that almost all of these nations trust, have come to trust, who has done something impactful for them that is bridging the gap? It's us, right? Like, it's the actions that we've taken over this game. So I loved how they made use of that. I loved how they brought us into this story and then revealed some of what was happening. So like, it's just a different pace. And for some folks, I think they aren't going to like that pace as much, which is fine. I personally thought that it felt like good, solid storytelling. And I loved, one of my favorite things has been the maps, exploring the maps, going around. The way that they've expanded out a lot of, the Warclaw mount, the way that spears change things up, having the opportunity to experiment with us. That was unintentional.
That was good. Credit where credit's due. Excellent work.
Like,
hang on.
Going around and even getting little pieces of story stuff that, like I saw chat talking about, that in the second map you get more context about, like the Bog Witch or other stuff like that, I think these maps have a lot of detail, a lot of care. There's a lot of different things on them. And they all kind of serve and tie into the story and the other mechanics and devices that you've been given in the expansion. So I feel like it's been really solid. We've had great new features released too, like Homesteads. And I am so excited for the rest of the year because I feel very positive that I think they have refined what they wanted to and taken a lot from it coming out of Secrets of the Obscure, right? It does feel like the quality's gone up. The cinematics have been really wonderful. There's a lot of thought and nuance and detail in what we've gotten, so it gets me excited for what I assume will be a really phenomenal finale, right? Like, so I like this unfolding. I think it's been really good.
Excellent.
I think that's the danger.
Wait, you said you didn't want any danger. Well, you didn't want danger. Like, what are you talking about?
We're talking. So, the empowerment.
We wanted everything to be chill and nice. Make up your damn mind.
Definitely.
Jesus.
This is my anxiety kind of manifesting. So, I think that the bulk of Secrets was fine. I wasn't great. I didn't enjoy the obstacle course nature of the maps. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I found it quite stressful having to traverse them. And I felt they were a bit too empty. And they had problems, right? But that wasn't the problem with Secrets. The problem with Secrets was Naos, right? And everybody thinks about Naos when they think about Secrets, which is a kick in the nuts because it doesn't deserve it, because it was actually a very small amount of content which seems to have kind of clouded the view of this really quite successful first annual expansion, I think, with all the stuff that they introduced. I thought this was fine, right? And my concern is that we'll get this really great opening kind of main chunk of story, and then if they don't deliver on the quarterly, people will only remember the quarterly. And then all the progress, all the good work, all the hard work that they put into better story delivery, not perfect story delivery. They still need a dedicated in-game cutscene team to bring this story to life. They definitely do. We didn't get enough cutscenes again.
There's more.
I love you guys.
There is definitely more.
There is more,
Yes.
but especially
right.
for like the White Mantle older history. I know it. I've made videos about it.
Yeah.
But if you really want to bring that horror to life off the page, you need cutscenes
God.
to do that. You need to bring people into it, right?
Mm.
That's one part I agree with.
I just want them to like home run the quarterly. Sorry. Yeah.
No,
I'm
gosh,
joking.
don't apologize. I was the one that tagged in at the end of what you were saying. I was just agreeing that I think that some of that older history, I think they did do some nice mentions, right? Of like, this is kind of like some little context of this, or this, or what they might have been doing here, or what the Titans were, or stuff like that, right? But I do agree that it would be like really cool if, I mean, people can just watch your amazing videos on the lore. But like,
Not
you know,
quite the same.
it's better, honestly. But no, it's one of those things where I agree with you that there's a lot of history there, where I was even asking stream as I was going through, or like, you know, going to the wiki and stuff, like, okay, now wait, remind me, this was this, but the Titans did XYZ, and then so it's like amazing lore tie-ins for folks that know a lot about the greater spectrum of lore. But it would have been nice, to even have like a little addition in one of the cutscenes or something that was just a little recap or cinematic about the impact that they had, or who some of these characters were, or things. You know, I think you still get it, and I think, you know, there are tools to still be able to read up on it, and I didn't feel like it was the end of the world not having like that context. But I do think that folks who really want the full stakes of what's happening, like, it helps a lot to have that information.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what the Dora Kamali is, or the Forge of Failed Creations, or the Realms of Torment. If you didn't play the original game, you have no idea. These are just words. You have no idea what I'm talking about, right? And that's fine. But if you're gonna have this wonderful lore, you need to bring the player base with you, and you need to update it for now. And they're so good at it. That's also annoying. They're so fucking good at doing great cutscenes, right? They're so good. And I feel like, especially now that we're having smaller expansions, now that they have less time to give us story, and they want to give it well, and they want us to feel it, then I don't think you can underestimate how much impact a good cutscene can do. And it doesn't have to be Warbringers or Harbinger or Old Soldier from Warcraft, which are just, they deserved like to be a cinematic universe in and of themselves, an animated cinematic universe. It doesn't have to be that level. It can just be they just need to bring it to life off the page rather than just words. And this is not a diss to any of the voice actors, who have been fantastic as ever. But
that's why you use
please.
cinematics. Like, they use it in the War Within really well. They do it. They've done it in other MMORPGs pretty well. Like, kind of a little bit here in the ESO, but ESO still has that problem. I mean, they have cinematics, and I assume they still do that in Final Fantasy 14, where they've got like a ton of them, but there's still probably loads of talking as well. I don't know.
You know,
how am I doing that anymore? To be fair.
I did really love the cinematics that we got in Janthir Wilds, though. I thought a lot of them, it was nice to see more of them. I thought they were really well done. There were some really memorable moments, so I did really appreciate those personally.
Maybe they're trying to get a balance. They're trying to they're just kind of inching their way with the old bits and bobs. Okay. Are we good? Because I think we're probably gonna end it there for today.
Nearly 2 hours, not bad.
Yeah, pretty good.
Well, the podcast itself. Oh yeah, because we restarted.
We've been talking here for about a week without.
We've been talking for a while.
We just turn the stream on and off, but we don't ever leave. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. We're just here, captive audience. Yeah.
My hairstyle never changes. Neither does Fornax's, actually. I mean, your hair is more stationary than mine.
I just alter the size of my head periodically. That's what I do.
Oh, so it makes it look like you've got longer hair or not?
Yeah,
I get it.
Definitely.
I get it. All right then. Crying Herald, what do you do? Where do you do it? Fornex, tell us all the things.
Yeah, so hey, I'm Fornex, I'm the Crichton Herald. I make content over on YouTube. I do a lot of Guild Wars 2 content, but I have done reviews for Dawnbringers, and I'm working on my War Within review, but do check it out. I do guides as well over there as well if you're new to the game. I have a lot of beginner-friendly stuff and some Fashion Wars content as well. So do check me out, and it's the Crichton Herald basically everywhere.
Wicked. Rookery.
Hello, I'm Rookery. You can find me on twitch.tv/Rookery. That's ROOKURI. You can find me on YouTube over at Rookery and on Twitter at Rookery_. Yeah, keep an eye out in coming weeks for announcements and stuff coming up. Because there's going to be a lot in the next couple months, and I'm really excited to get to enjoy all of it with all of you.
Excellent. And I'm Jebro. Make sure to check out the podcast. youtube.com/JebroUnity is where the VODs are. If you want to watch us and listen to us on Spotify, you can do that as well by just searching the Lightbringers GW2 podcast as well, just anywhere, and you'll see us on iTunes, all your favorite places to view or listen to content, because you can listen to it and watch it in many different places, including on Twitch. We're going to probably move to a bit more of an every other week show. We'll see if anything gets slotted in there every so often. Maybe if there's like, you know, some other kind of podcast, or whether or not it's also just like, oh, there's another PvP beta. I know you're coughing. If there's another PvP beta, maybe we can just have a Lightbringers 5-player team, all of us just playing it together, having a laugh, pushing a thing along, winning the things, and not being mad and mean and dying. Yeah, so do that.
I'm happy to come push balls whenever you need me. Yeah.
Fornex loves balls.
The DOC returns next week. No, 2 weeks time. We will be back unless there's something that I feel like we can do next week. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching live. If you were there, and if you weren't, you're fired. And we'll see you next time anyway. Not really. Well, I mean, maybe. See you soon. It was lovely to catch up with you all. It's been a couple of weeks actually since we saw you, so it's nice to hang out. I hope you're good. Let us know if you're enjoying Janthir Wilds in all the comments, and also review. Give us some stars and thumbs up. And if you don't want to, then that's also fine, I guess. Up to you, right?
Whatevs.
Whatever.
You do you.
Whatever.
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 Yeah, we did it. All right. Bye, everyone.